Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news television show. We're broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
We are proud to announce that YouTube has recognized Queer News Tonight, certified by analytics company vidIQ as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached over 10 million views.
We are also proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida.
We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It's Tuesday, April 22nd. Happy Earth Day. We're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show.
HOTspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission, is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, HOTspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We will produce the 25th anniversary of Stonewall Pride Parade and Festival on June 14th. We present Pride Fete in August and Pride Fort Lauderdale in February. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader community.
In 2025, more than 100 community leader anchors will host this show to support LGBTQ community. Let's meet today's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Vaughn Biggs. He's a community outreach coordinator at Holy Cross Health, a vice chair of the Ryan White Part A Planning Council, and a founding board member of Trans Ed. Vaughn, Heroes and Villains takes to the stage on May 10th at the Parker. Tell me, what's happening?
That's right, Ty. The South Florida Pride Concert Band is set to dazzle audiences with Heroes and Villains on May 10th at 7 p.m. at Wells Hall, the Parker, Fort Lauderdale. Presented by the Bears of South Florida, this electrifying event will spotlight Tony Award winner Frances Ruffelle and Tony and Grammy nominee Max von Essen. The concert promises an unforgettable musical journey through the worlds of iconic heroes and infamous villains, from Captain America to Darth Vader, with themes drawn from history, Broadway, and film. This one-night-only show is a thrilling celebration of good, evil, and everything in between. Tickets start at $45, and demand is expected to be high. Music lovers and fans of theatrical storytelling won't want to miss this vibrant performance. For more details and to book your seats, visit parkerplayhouse.com. You know, I love a good villain, right? We all love a good villain.
Well, I feel like it's like good, evil, and everything in between.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
We were just called everything in between.
Wow. I just wanted to take that. I did have the pleasure of interviewing the fabulous Max von Essen, and I attended his concert a few years ago in Aventura, and I can attest to the fact that he's talented and a super nice member of our community. So it should be a good show.
And of course, Bears of South Florida are always bringing us fun events to enjoy. So this will be oh, wow.
What was that?
Bears of South Florida. Anyway, it sounds great. That's a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing, and Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Parker on May 10th. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is an entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Gregg, the Florida Roundup Weekend starts on 14th of May. Tell me, what's happening?
I will. Florida Roundup 2025 is back with a bang, celebrating its 40th anniversary under the banner 40 and Fierce. The event kicks off at 12 p.m. on Wednesday, May 14th, and runs through Sunday, May 18th, at the Westin Fort Lauderdale Beach Resort. A beloved annual gathering in the LGBTQ recovery community, Florida Roundup offers 5 days and 4 nights of recovery-focused programming, heartfelt fellowship, enlightening workshops, and the unbeatable Florida sunshine. Attendees from across the country come together to connect, heal, and celebrate milestones in sobriety and self-discovery. With general admission tickets priced at $135, the event promises to be both accessible and unforgettable. Organizers are inviting returning friends and first-timers alike to be part of this landmark edition filled with meaningful moments and community spirit. More details available on Eventbrite. Earlier, I spoke to a trusted friend who's an active participant, and he raved about the experiences he's had attending the Roundup in different cities, and from his perspective, it's a fantastic event, so I'll take his word for it.
Well, and anytime you can get a lot of support from your community and get a whole bunch of folks together to engage with that is important.
They need as much support as all of us need support, right? I mean, and you think 40 years of this? I mean, that's
impressive.
That's very impressive.
Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing. And Queer News Tonight, we look forward to seeing you at the Florida Roundup Weekend from May 14th. Let's welcome anchor Buddy Frey. He supports many of South Florida's local nonprofit organizations like Julian's Fountain of Youth and the Stonewall National Library Museum. Buddy, the Mizz South Florida Pageant is on May 19th for LGBTQ youth scholarships at Aquaplex. Tell me, what's happening?
Well, let's go through this. Gregg Ford of Fort Lauderdale and South Florida newspaper and magazine are teaming up to bring the dazzling Mizz South Florida Pageant 2025. This event will raise funds for LGBTQ college scholarships. This spectacular evening will be held at Aquaplex on Monday, May 19th. The doors open at 5:15 p.m. and the pageant starts at 6 p.m. The winner will be officially crowned during the South Florida Pride Gala on May 22nd. The pageant is free and the entire program is a kickoff celebration for Stonewall Pride. For more details, visit OutSouthFlorida.com. I mean, this group is so great and so important in so many different ways. It's nice to see somebody raising money for better education for our younger generations. So if you're part of that generation and you're looking for scholarships, contact the organization as well. I don't know what the specifics for the program is, but please take advantage of this. Support the group. Every dollar they raise goes back into the community, and that's always important, especially in this political timeline.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it is scholarship season, so we've done a couple of other shout outs to different organizations giving out scholarships. This is a fantastic one. And if you're part of the LGBTQ plus community that is going to college this fall, be on the lookout for these kinds of scholarships because they're out there and we want you to be educated. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Mizz South Florida Pageant on May 19th at Aquaplex.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Tai Houser. He is a professor of English and Humanities at Broward College and Florida Atlantic University. Tai, Matthew Darren's mixtape rocks Aquaplex May 6th. Tell me what's happening.
Absolutely. Aquaplex Fort Lauderdale is turning up the volume on Tuesday, May 6th, as Matthew Darren brings his explosive live show, Mixtape, back to center stage. Kicking off at 7 p.m., this monthly music spectacle, led by American Idol alum Matthew Darren, lights up the first Tuesday of every month with powerhouse vocals, jaw-dropping dance moves, and show-stopping visuals. Held at the newly renovated Aquaplex, this edition of Mixtape pays tribute to the iconic sounds of the 90s, promising an electrifying blend of nostalgia and fresh energy. Guests can enjoy all-you-can-eat tacos, mouth-watering dishes, and handcrafted cocktails while grooving to a rotating lineup of themed music performances. Reservations are highly recommended as tables fill up fast. For more details, visit fladragshow.com. Well, Matthew is a kind of a friend, a loose acquaintance, but every event that he does is fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good.
And I'm sure this is going to be, I probably have to go to this because the 90s is like my prime music era. So I'll probably be there and think about all the mixtapes I made with all those songs in the 90s.
Will you be dressed up like it's the 90s?
I hope not. I don't think I can get down to tight roll my jeans anymore.
Well, if we are talking about the iconic sounds of the 90s, I hope that includes Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit and the Lemonhead's Big Gay Heart, in case he's looking for suggestions.
And, you know, anything that Matthew Darren does that's explosive, we should be there.
Oh, wow. Thirsty much? That's a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Matthew Darren's Mixtape at Aquaplex on May 6th. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Tai Houser. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. HOTspots magazine returns with a special home edition issue on April 24th. HOTspots is celebrating 40 years with a special home improvement edition coming this Thursday. The magazine is part of HOTspots Happening Out, the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media group in America. This new HOTspots issue will include an interesting feature by Jimmy Newsom called Beatbox, talking about fierce tracks and euphoric club bangers. The new issue covers a feature on Nathan Lane and the mid-century modern creators on their very gay new sitcom. Talking about entertainment, Arts Center is bringing Beetlejuice to South Florida from April 29th to May 4th at Ziff Ballet Opera House. Plus, the Outshine LGBTQ+ Film Festival is around the corner, and the magazine has covered everything you need to know about the festival, its schedule, movies, plot, and more. Family Features has shared some amazingly energy-saving home improvement ideas in this new issue that you'll not want to miss. Their other feature talks about how you can use wallpaper to improve your home's look. Frank Mendez has shared viral South Florida home improvement trends in one of the can't-miss features. Tequila lovers, party of one, are going to enjoy an exciting feature written on different tequilas to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. And of course, you can read popular features like What's Hot and Out with Scott by Scott Holland. Grab your free copy of HOTspots magazine on Thursday, April 24th, or you might miss all the fun. Well, I'm looking forward to the special on Mid-Century Modern because I loved it. I mean, Greg and I have talked about this relentlessly. The first couple of episodes were a little hard to get through, but the rest of it I found to be incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, I did an interview with Max Muchnick, one of the co-creators of the show, and yes, it needs to find its footing, but there's some really funny scenes, and gosh, you get to look at Matt Bomer for 30 minutes. I mean...
So it's time to binge watch it and watch them all in one night, right?
Sure.
Is that what it is? Okay.
And then we have to remember Linda Lavin.
And
Linda Lavin, of course.
R.I.P.
And there's so much more going on. Of course, the Beetlejuice show is coming. We've got the special features on the home and you know
wallpaper.
Wallpaper's coming.
Wallpaper.
Back.
It is.
So that's great. Okay, that's a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Tai Houser. Let's queer up the USA View. The proposed Trump administration budget cuts Lifeline for LGBTQ youth. In a move sparking national outrage, the Trump administration has proposed eliminating federal funding for a vital lifeline for queer youth in crisis. A leaked draft budget obtained by the Washington Post reveals plans to cut all funding for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline's LGBTQ+ youth specialized services, effective October 1st, 2025. This program, which provides identity-affirming crisis support for queer and trans young people, is currently funded through the Department of Health and Human Services. James Black, CEO of the Trevor Project, didn't mince words. Quote, "Suicide prevention is about risk, not identity. Ending the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline's LGBTQ+ youth specialized services will not just strip away access from millions of LGBTQ+ kids and teens, it will put their lives at risk." Black reminded viewers that these services were implemented under a Republican administration and had broad bipartisan support. The statistics are very sobering. Every 45 seconds, a queer youth in the U.S. attempts suicide. Over 1.8 million queer and trans young people seriously consider it each year. The specialized services have already reached more than 1.2 million people. But the political climate clearly matters. The Trevor Project saw a 33% spike in crisis contacts on the day of Trump's inauguration, and a staggering 700% increase the day after the 2016 election. Queer News Tonight reminds you that help is still there. Call or text 988, and the Trevor Project has help 24 hours a day at 866-488-7386. This is definitely a tragedy, assuming that it goes through. But what it does show us, that we see time and time again, the Trump administration does not care about us. Whether we're young, whether we're old, whether we're positive, whether we're just existing, is a problem for this administration.
Yeah, it's another heartless and hateful move by Trump and company, and no doubt under the guidance of the Heritage Foundation, aka the Fourth Reich. This is terrible stuff. It really is.
You know, we've done enough stories on the Trevor Project and our LGBTQ youth and suicide and those high percentages, and it just it just brings it to hearten that who do they have to go to? And I'm thinking about, I was just at the biomedical conference in Atlanta, and they had a huge youth turnout, LGBTQ youth, and their message is stand up and act out. And it's like, and that's what I think we need to continue to do, to educate and bring continual awareness to mental assistance for people that need that.
What I'm going to say here ties into what you're saying. I can remember, and I am that old, in the late 80s, early 90s, I was living in St. Louis. And at that time, when the AIDS crisis was beginning, I was part of the first group of people that organized the local AIDS organization, St. Louis Effort for AIDS, EFA. And one of the programs in that group was a suicide hotline. Now, the suicide hotline was only available for a handful of hours each day, but we had it. And at that point, we were self-funded, meaning that we went to the gay community. We're just going to have to go back to those days, unfortunately. And with all the wealth that the LGBT community claims to have, with with all the billionaires and gazillionaires and rock stars and successful entrepreneurs and whatever else, and YouTubers, which I don't get, but I think we're just going to have to start insulating ourselves and being it's not that we don't invite the community outside of the LGBTQ. We do invite our allies. We do talk to corporations. But we have to start going back to the old days of not assuming that money's going to be there.
Right.
And we're going to have to be self-insulated, and we're going to have to be self-protective and reach out to each other and quit bitching and fighting like RuPaul's drag queens, and because it happens in the community, we're not always the best to ourselves.
Right.
And I think at this point we're going to have a family reunion and just say, look, we're family. We may not like each other 24/7. We got to survive.
Yeah,
we got to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, back to the ACT UP days and the Queer Nation days, when there was outrage and protest and making sure we had our voices.
And at the end of the day, this is the generation that's going to take over for us. And how many times have we sat around this table talking about how we need to get together and help lift them up? And
but we need to be more than just political. We need to also be financially responsible to ourselves. There's more to life outside of a pride parade and a gay bar.
Right.
We have to think about 24/7. What happens those other 360 days of the year?
Or you have those kinds of fundraisers in bars.
That's what I'm saying.
That's if that's where they're going, then you have fundraisers there.
It's really disheartening to me to see that right after the election, the spike in the need for that service.
Yes.
I mean, that shows us a lot of things. That shows us that it really is a problem in the community, but it also shows us that kids are paying attention,
Right.
and they're being very, very affected by it.
Right.
I have a family member who couldn't stop crying as a 16-year-old the day after the election because she felt scared.
Yeah.
Well, before you say anything, I want to remind everybody the
Yes.
hotline number 866-488-7386. Please, if you don't write it down now, it's the Trevor Project. You can look it up online. Please take advantage of it. It's important.
Thank you for that. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Von Biggs, and let's queer up the USA view. White House redirects COVID site to lab leak page, blaming China. In a surprising move, the White House yesterday has redirected COVID.gov, a site that once offered testing, vaccine, and long COVID resources, to a new landing page titled Lab Leak: True Origins of COVID-19. The new site presents 5 points supporting to the theory that the pandemic began due to a lab accident in Wuhan, China. Those arguments echo a December 2024 report from the Republican-led Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic. But it's important to note there has never been a scientific consensus or definitive proof on how the virus first emerged. The 5 claims include COVID-19 has a biological feature not found in nature, all cases trace back to a single introduction into humans. Wuhan is home of China's top SARS lab. Researchers there were reportedly ill with COVID-like symptoms in late 2019. And if the virus had a natural origin, the evidence would have already surfaced. The site also revives a controversial claim that the former NIAID director, Dr. Anthony Fauci, influenced early research to downplay the lab leak theory. But Fauci, under oath in 2024, called those allegations, quote, absolutely false and simply preposterous, end quote. The page goes further, criticizing the federal COVID response, including lockdowns, masking, and even New York's handling of the crisis. It also features a photo of Fauci and President Biden's pardon for him. This isn't the first time the lab leak theory has taken center stage, but amidst the ongoing tariff war between the two countries, this report by the White House adds fuel to the currently delicate geopolitical environment. Queer News Tonight's Al Ferguson interviewed Fauci before leaving the NIH, and many activists in the LGBTQ community are concerned about the White House efforts to reshape accurate healthcare information. Particular concerns centered around accurate medical information on HIV/AIDS, PrEP, and other critical LGBTQ medical concerns. We have heard so many stories of people that speak on science that have no idea what they're talking about. I mean, we consistently see that. We have seen the medical mistrust in our country from the government. We've heard about it. I mean, even thinking back when COVID came out, it was, okay, it's not a problem, it is a problem, it's not a problem, that everybody was locked down. I mean, it was disastrous. And all I can think of, one of the things is apparently they had alleged biosafety protocols. And I look at this as a way, as we've seen, as Mr. 45-7 does. Look over there. And that's what they're doing.
Well, it's distraction, and it's also part of his retribution tour. He's just going after people who he thinks made him look stupid during the pandemic.
He's too busy.
He didn't need help looking stupid. He is stupid. And as appalling as this is, there's nothing shocking or surprising about this in the least. It's more lies, more misinformation coming from the absolute worst White House in history.
But it's the thing that I think is getting lost in here is it's a lot of finger pointing. It's like a bad Three Stooges movie where it's like constantly everyone's like, it's his fault, it's his fault, it's her fault, it's her fault. Fuck the fault. What are we doing to stop it? What are we doing to protect ourselves? Where is the medical information we need to have my children be safe? But unfortunately, now that we have our Kennedy, and it doesn't matter because he's half shit baked. you know?
I mean, we've already been through COVID, right? I mean, we made it.
And we survived.
Right. We had a lot of deaths, unfortunately, to do that.
Thousands.
You know?
Yes.
But at the same time, why do we have to go back and retrace the steps? For what reason? What's the end game?
Well, this goes back to, I was doing some research on this, and there was some assumptions that because Donald left office before everything was finally back in order, that he feels that he was blamed for the COVID situation. So as usual, when Donald feels blamed, it's everybody else's fault, and I'm the perfect one, and I'm the right one, and my information is the right information. Now, unfortunately, it's going to, screw up half of rural America because they don't know what's going on and they don't know what to believe, and especially with his base, because it's their mindset that anything that comes out of Donald's mouth is golden and biblical.
Yeah.
So, that's my concern, is moving on to the next 3.5 years, what's going to happen when we get back to reality and back to a common sense campaign.
So my issue with this is coming from the symbol of power in the United States. This is the White House saying things that we, as a global community, have decided are not true. So regardless of what's going on behind closed doors there, the rest of the world is laughing. They're saying, you guys look like fools.
We are fools.
Well, we are fools for allowing this election to have happened the way it did, and for allowing him to be our voice. Because regardless of how you voted, he's our voice. And the lies and the misinformation that is coming out of the symbol of power for the United States is embarrassing.
It is.
And it's even sadly as it's having a ripple effect in Europe as we speak, because suddenly there are campaigns going overseas in other countries, and there's micro versions of Trump and his mindset vying for political office
in Europe, I mean, all over, yes.
So it's feeding into a horrible rippling effect that, the insanity can spread if you don't pay attention. Maybe instead of COVID shots, we should have had insanity shots.
I think that is actually a shot. Actually. I'm going to order one of those tonight. That's a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up entertainment. Watch what happens when you make the iconic Disney princess a man. Gay Twitter and Reddit are ablaze over a new AI-generated YouTube short that is turning heads and turning tradition, titled Disney Princess Male Version, #Disney, #Fusion, #AI Art, #Princess, #Male. The 15-second clip is giving beloved Disney heroines a powerful, gender-bending makeover. From Belle to Elsa, each of these familiar characters appears as a regal, handsome prince, while still keeping their signature style and spirit. The transformations are seamless thanks to the use of AI art and fusion filters. LGBTQ viewers are responding positively to this video. The video started to gain traction on YouTube Shorts and then quickly moved to many of the major gay internet social media sites. Many posts suggest that it is more than just fun art. It's part of a growing wave of fan-made content that challenges heteronormative storytelling in mainstream media. Well, it sounds like putting the sin in Cinderella, the moan in Moana, the jizz in Jasmine, and the balls in Belle.
You've been dying.
This sounds like a great idea for a Black Mirror episode. A Disney princess male version comes to life and lives happily ever after with his boyfriend until, of course, there's a glitch.
A glitch.
A glitch.
Listen, I mean, I used to design Disney products for 22 years. So,
okay.
Yeah. So I'm very familiar with all the princesses, but the conspiracy theory behind all these Disney princesses is amazing. There are so many out there, but I love the whole gender bending aspect of this. But the biggest one is, I don't know if you've heard this, but Ariel. So you know who she was in love with before?
Wait, Ariel was from The Little Mermaid?
Uh-huh.
And she was
So who's the sea witch? Ursula, right?
Ursula.
So Ursula's human version was named Vanessa. And the conspiracy theory is that they were lovers.
Oh, I thought she
Which
got.
is why she is so enchanted and wanting to be back on land.
See, I thought she got crabs from
Oh.
from Sebastian.
But no, but I love this. I'm ready for the movie. Let's start the whole roll of all the movies. I'm
But
ready.
it really, like, the AI stuff scares me because that looks so real.
It is frightening.
Like, it's frightening to me that I could get turned on by that.
Well, that's nothing wrong with that.
I have nothing to say.
Well,
I'm leaving that one alone.
that's the big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Buddy Frey, and let's queer up trans rights. Atlanta hotel turns away trans woman, saying, quote, "People like you can't stay here." A trans woman is speaking out after a troubling experience at a hotel in Atlanta that she believes is a clear case of housing discrimination. Sadie Weiss, a longtime LGBTQ pageant winner from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, says she was denied a pre-booked hotel room at Extended Stay America Atlantic Northlake, simply because the gender marker on her Alabama ID didn't match her appearance. Weiss had traveled more than 200 miles last month to participate in a cancer charity show, and after a long day riding with her dad, boarding a Greyhound, and finally grabbing a lift from the Atlanta bus station, she was ready to rest. But when she tried to check in, she said that the front desk agent told her, quote, "People like you can't stay here," end of quote. Weiss had booked the hotel through Expedia weeks earlier. When she showed her reservation, the agent asked for ID, then refused her stay and even told her to cancel an upcoming reservation later in the month. Extended Stay later claimed they had no record of her at check-in, even suggesting she might have spoken to a guest and not staff, despite that guest supposedly pulling up her reservation info. Weiss's Lyft receipt proves that she arrived at the appropriate and correct address. Weiss was able to find a room at a nearby Days Inn and still perform in the show. But she wants people to understand that what happened wasn't just one rude employee, it's a larger pattern. She says Alabama's restrictive laws forced her to carry an ID that outs her, making her vulnerable to moments like this. I'm a little not surprised, and yet I'm still a little speechless because it's so quick to happen. I mean, we're all expecting this. We've been talking about stories like this for the longest time with these, the quote unquote, the new IDs that we all have to, legally carry for driving and whatever else. I'm just stunned that Extended Stay America, if I got that right, has kind of stumbled and BS'd it wasn't a staff member. Are you sure you had the right location? That's kind of clumsy in and of itself. I mean, it's one thing if they don't want to apologize, but this is now making bad publicity, and bad publicity means less money. And in this economy, when people are traveling less, there are better ways to handle this.
Well, I'm sure most of those places have cameras at the check-in. Right. So there's probably a video of this exchange. So, I mean, there is a way to prove this. And it's just horrible on multiple levels, not the least of which for her to be told, quote, "People like you can't stay here," end quote.
Well, it's Alabama.
No, she's from Alabama.
No, it's in Alabama. Oh,
she was in Atlanta.
You're right.
So hopefully Extended Stay America has taken action and rapidly replaced this miserable front desk agent.
That or just it's time to boycott Extended Stays.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's a big...
Right.
Yeah, if you're in Atlanta, go to Days Inn.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a big LGBTQ story for today. There's no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ and ally community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then thrive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of HOTspots magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I've been pleased to be your lead anchor tonight, Tai Houser, and on behalf of these three jokers, the best of the LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Vaughn Biggs, Gregg Shapiro, and Buddy Frey. We'll see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and of course, queer. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.